What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the People Person podcast presented by Good Time Media. Today, I welcome on Jack Cote, the host of Imagine Sports podcast. Jack, how you doing today?
How we doing? Thanks for having me. It's definitely been a work in progress to get on this, but I'm glad we finally got it done and we've been connected for a little while. So I'm
Yeah,
glad to be on.
I was gonna say, when was the first time I got in contact? I think I reached out to you in like the spring, maybe, and we went back and
Yeah, so
forth a little bit as you were trying to get stuff going and all that stuff.
yeah, I think we connected right when I rebranded. So I had like my podcast, it was called Hoosier Pick, like right when I got to school last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of launched the Imagine Sports thing and just basically rebranded the podcast and the whole deal and made it kind of public to people and made it more, people were seeing it on TikTok more and it wasn't just
Yeah.
like some random like clip to clip thing. And I wanted to make it more official. And that's kind of when we connected. So,
So,
yeah.
what was to let people know the idea behind Imagine Sports, how that came to be? So, you said you had that Hoosier talk before. How did Imagine
Yep.
Sports come to be? What was the idea behind that?
Well, I think before college, going into school, I always was like, I want to start a podcast. I think everyone, when you're in high school, your friend group's always just like, hey, yo, let's start a podcast.
Yeah.
Because there ain't a dude friend group where you're not talking about Tom Brady,
Yeah.
where you're not debating who the GOAT of basketball is, right? So I kind of wanted to implement that into a bit of like a network, right? And the other thing was growing up, I never really had opportunities to work for like any big networks, right? You can't work at
Mm-hmm.
ESPN as a 16-year-old. You can't be
Yeah.
the headliner of ESPN as a 16-year-old. So I was like, dude, these younger kids have valid points, valid arguments, incredible talents, incredible creating abilities. So why not kind of create something for like the younger generation that allows for like a platform? So the whole goal behind it, and it's definitely still a work in progress, and this
Yeah.
is like probably like a 10-year project, but the ultimate goal is just to have a network that is like a platform, and it has all these different podcasts, all these different creators, and they're all kind of in the younger generation, but more so like aspiring journalists, aspiring broadcasters, aspiring photographers, videographers, the whole spiel. And it's a way for people to connect with one another. So that's kind of the
Yeah.
idea behind it. But more so like I launched Imagine Sports because I knew the way I think and view sports. Like my dad was the one that came up with the name, and right when he said Imagine, I'm like, dude, that's literally how I view sports. It's like craziness, but at the same time, like there's like a slight chance that like everything I say comes true, but like nobody else thinks that way.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool. It's the similar model, kind of what we got going on here. It's we want to. You talk about those big networks and like everyone growing up. I feel like our generation. You're how old are you?
I'm 19.
19. Okay, I'm 23. So similar. We're close. I feel like
Yep.
us growing up, like you always hear like when you're a kid, you're like, I want to work for ESPN. I want to do this. I want to do that. Those big networks are like the goal. But then I feel like the younger generations now, like it's not as appealing to work for those big networks. Like they want a
No.
little more control, autonomy over like what you're doing. And so that's why you see these more like uh not not I don't know the other word besides like non-professional, just like kind of just doing your own thing, have more creative control, a little less like by the book type of networks. Like you obviously see Barstool, you see like The Ringer, you see those type of sports networks where it's a little less by the book, polished content. It's more like I want control over this, my opinion, all this stuff, which people younger generations are attracted to. And like no one wants to go put on a suit all day, sit at 8 a.m. and talk about a stat line for the night. They want to argue. They want to debate. That's the way like it seems to be trending. So yeah, I definitely resonate with that. What's your day to day look like? Like right now you're in school at IU, right?
Yep.
So what's the day to
Oh,
day balancing school that because I've been there. I've been through that grind where you're trying to hustle, but also like got to do the schoolwork.
listen, it's the toughest thing in the entire world because I'm in like a weird situation where not a lot of 19-year-olds kind of are trying to do what I'm trying to do, which is
Mm-hmm.
basically start my life and I haven't even graduated yet,
Yeah.
right? Most people want to go to college for 4 years, do the fraternity life, have a good time for 4 years, sort of make it through classes, get the degree, but basically just fuck around for 4 years straight and then be like, oh, now I got to get a job, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I got to college and I'm like, that path ain't for me. So I kind of the day-to-day life. All right. So I basically just wake up and I'll probably have like a Zoom class, or maybe I'll go to a class. And then right after that, after any sort of class is done, and I do the minimal when it comes to that, then
Mm-hmm.
it's just straight do it, make as many videos you can. Every week we do a podcast, usually like once a week, and I'll be able to have clips from that one particular podcast that throughout the week I am constantly putting together and editing and then
Yeah.
posting. And then on top of that, uh, at night I'm watching sports, I'm checking out games, and I'm also, one of my biggest things that I've kind of implemented into my lifestyle this year is just spontaneous traveling. I think
Mm-hmm.
spontaneous traveling is by far the best thing any creator, anyone that's trying to be like some sort of influencer or just like freelancer in life, if you just experience things, it's the best possible thing. I woke up on a Saturday morning and I said, you know what? This ticket's $600. I don't care. I'm going to Tennessee, Alabama. And by myself. I literally drove down there with some chick. She didn't go to the game. She went to the bar. I went to the game by myself and I had the greatest experience in my life. And it's like things like that that I'll never forget. And I've started to implement that into my life recently because life's too short not to go to games like that. And I think life's all about going to games
Yeah.
and having experiences and going to these cool places. I had never been to Tennessee. Like I'd never been to the university. I've been to Nashville. But the point is
Mm-hmm.
like just I tend to do a lot of spontaneous, like no pattern whatsoever. It's just like every hour is like a new thing, right?
Yeah.
And there are highs and lows to that, but
Yeah, no,
yeah.
there's a lot of at least when I mean, again, feels a lot like deja vu, or just like I feel like I was in the same boat where it's like you're in school,
Yeah.
you know what you want to do and you're building this, but you still got to like take care of the little responsibilities, go to class, do this, bare minimum, get by, keep everyone happy, stay in school, but then grind. And then the way I looked at it was like I have a 4-year head start now. When I graduate, I have a 4-year head start where I did experience college, had fun, enjoy, met a lot of people. Like you build a lot of relationships through college, but I wasn't getting the most out of college in the classroom. It was the experiences, like you talked about, the relationships, and then I'm still building this
So
on the side.
facts.
So then when
Yeah.
you graduate, you're like, all right, I still have a long way to go. Like that's why I'm at. I have a long way to go, but I'm way further ahead now than I would have been if I started in April or May, whenever I graduated. If I would have
Yeah.
started
I
good
just
time in May, I would have been fucked, dude. I would have been so far behind.
yeah.
But now I'm 4 years
Literally
ahead.
it's actually absurd, like the head start you can get
Mm-hmm.
while being in college.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest challenges is balancing it all and understanding like what your priorities are. But
Yeah.
I've gotten to the point where like my priorities aren't class, my priorities is getting a degree, but at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, like I have all this time. I feel like most people complain about, oh, I have so much homework. I have all this homework. No, you don't. You really
Yeah.
don't
You
have that
don't.
much homework. You have so much time on your hands and then you just end up going out. Like I don't even feel like I need to go out that much,
Yeah.
but when I do go out, it's electric, obviously. But I'll attest to the point you just made about like, dude, when you're in college, the classes aren't necessarily the most important thing. It's about the connections and the networking.
Mm-hmm.
And like another thing is if you don't want to be going to classes and you don't want to be in school and you just would rather be at home and like start your own life and get a job, you're not going to find connections there either.
Yeah.
Like if I was in Connecticut right now and wasn't in college and was just doing my podcast, I wouldn't be me because I've met so many people at Indiana, and I'm connected to like all the bars here and all the people, and then Nashville's like 3 hours away, so I'm
Mhm.
connected down there, and it's all about the connections. It ain't
Yeah,
about like what, yes, going to class and learning a little bit is good and all, but when you go to school, the most important thing, in my opinion, is just meeting
yeah,
people that are going to connect you with other people, and it's like a family tree.
a hundred
Everyone's kind of
percent.
linked together.
Yeah, 100%. It took me a bit to realize that because I always knew, like, even coming into college, like, this is what I want to do. How do I do it? And then it always felt like, at least like my freshman year, I was like, it kind of feels like a waste of time. Like, why am I here? Why am I in school taking these stupid classes that I don't really care about when I know this is like the path I want to go down? And I was always like, oh, I just get a degree, whatever. But then I realized, like, you know what? I kind of had a mindset shift and I was like, you know what? I can make the most out of everything else outside of, yes, I'm going to take some dumb classes here and there. That's going to happen. I'll suck it up and get through it. And I can also just meet so many people. But like, if I embrace that part about it, I can actually get a lot more out of it than if I were to say not go to college and like 4 years just hustle in probably this exact room and just grind for 4 years. I'm probably better off having gone to school, even though like the sheer hours I put in aren't comparable than if I wouldn't have gone to college. I feel like I'm way better off because you have those connections, you have the relationships, even though the hours don't really line up, which it's always
I think
it was a hard dynamic. Yeah.
I think there's also like a learning curve, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm 19 years old, and the past 3 months I've tried to like experience the real world, and I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like it's huge. You're like, I feel like big man on campus here, and then I go to Nashville, and I'm like, holy shit,
Yeah.
it's crazy. And so I think that's the important part. Like you get these 4 years of college, not necessarily to learn all this stuff in classes, which is important, but at the same time, it's more about like maturing and like becoming like an actual like
Yeah.
functioning human being. I'm
Oh, yeah.
I'm not ready to be in the real world. I need a couple more years to like, really soak it in and balance myself. So
Yeah, you'll be ready. I have no doubt you'll be ready. It sucks though. It does suck there's a moment. There's a moment you graduate, you're like, oh shit, this is real. This is real.
mhm,
Like this is my life now.
mhm.
Um, was there a how do you like balance? So this is something I've struggled with is like you want this so bad, you want to keep growing this brand, this platform. So like there's always something to do. There's always more work to be done. How do you balance like, all right, I'm gonna take tonight off and I'm gonna just like relax, maybe like be a kid or whatever. How do you balance that? Because there's a part like where there's this hustle mindset where like 24 hours a day, got to make every single second count, got to keep growing the brand, do this, do this. Sometimes like mentally, you got to take a break, mental health, just like take care of that, step back for like a night, an hour, whatever. How do you balance that? Because that's something I've always struggled with. I've gotten better at as the years have gone by, but how do you work on balancing that?
Well,
You
you're
can say you don't.
asking
You
you're
can say you don't.
we're
Like,
we're
'cause I
very
know.
we're very similar because
Yeah.
this is my biggest struggle in life right
Mm-hmm.
now, like completely, right? So last year, so I go to college last year as a freshman, and the first semester I didn't have like a TikTok. I had a TikTok, but I had maybe
Mm-hmm.
like 1,000 followers. I didn't have a podcast. Start the podcast, right? And it kind of I posted a couple of clips, and a couple of them blew up, but it was never a consistent thing. And then in January I decided, I'm like, I want to do this. And I had like a weird first semester where like I had a lot of like socialness, but at the same time I didn't really love like the relationships I was building.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't love like how I was approaching college. And then I was like, dude, like I can do this podcast thing, and I can really just, I'm gonna just try and do it. So I put my head down in January, and I just went for it. I
Yeah.
grind. And I might have lost a lot of friendships. I might have lost some time. But at the same time, I just put my head down and went 24/7 and grinded for 6 to 8 months. And
Mm-hmm.
then you kind of get to the point where you're like, holy shit, that 8 months just, it's a blur. I,
Yeah.
I I feel like I just blacked out for an entire
Mm-hmm.
year, but at the same time, it was like the greatest year ever, filled with all these different things. But it's like, how do you even process it? I'm like still
Yeah.
trying to process everything that's happened. So what I try and do now is just, I don't know. It's hard to balance because I always feel like I'll make a video, I'll edit a video, and then I'll post it. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go eat some food real quick. So I grab a sandwich and then I plan on, I'm gonna go to the gym. But instead of going to the gym, I'm like, wait, I kind of want to make this other video right now
Yep.
quickly. And so I start making the other video and then I post that one. And I'm like, all right, let me go take a piss. And I'm like, wait, there's another video I can make.
Yep.
And then I'm like, holy shit, it's 7 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
And that's my biggest thing is like, I feel like I'm working by the hour and I'm just constantly video. What can I do to create? What can I do? Because I love
Mm-hmm.
creating. And I think one of those things is like, yeah, the grind is hard, but at the same time, if you love creating, and I
Yeah.
love just making videos, I love the satisfaction of like getting a shit ton of views and likes and comments and interactions, and I love like looking at like my own work. I do, it's kind of weird, but sometimes like I'll literally just go on my TikTok and like scroll through and listen to myself. It's fun.
Yeah.
Like I
No, I
just
get
enjoy
that. I
that.
get that a lot. Yeah. That makes sense.
So
It's hard to balance. So yeah.
yeah, I think it's definitely hard to balance. I think one of the best things you can do, I've used going to these games and just using that kind of as a night off. Like a couple of the things I do best are, shoot some hoops, play some piano, just watch a game by myself, like just get some alone time. Like those are really important things that I try and do to kind of balance my day a little bit and understand that you don't, I mean, I'm 19 years old. I don't need to be working 24/7. I got a
Mm-hmm.
whole life ahead of me. But at the same time, there's that like anxiety with the future that you're like, I
Yeah.
gotta go, or I'm gonna
Clock's
lose the
clock's
spotlight,
ticking.
right?
Clock's always ticking, it
Yeah,
feels
like
like. Yeah.
there's always that stupid mindset, but I think you kind of just got to understand that like it's all your talent and your creation abilities are always going to be there,
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of have to understand that like you got to play the long game
Yeah.
yes, life's too short, but you also have to play the long game and understand that your best years are to come.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I mean, I'm trying to give some advice here, but at the same time, like
Yeah.
I would love some
Yeah.
advice on your end. Like, how do you balance everything?
Um, of two things there. So one, I think the biggest thing is like it's always hard to like turn it off because, like you said, like we love doing this. We wouldn't do it all the time if we didn't love it. And so that's why it's
Correct.
so hard is like, why would I stop doing it? I'm enjoying this. But then, like you said, important thing you said is like you sit head down, you grind for 8 months, and then you look back and you're like, I don't even like remember what I did the last 8 months. And people are like, what have you been up to? I'm like, oh, I've been grinding. Doing what? And then you're like, I don't know. I've just been doing stuff. I've always been working.
I don't know. I gained
Yeah,
100,000 followers in a year, and
exactly.
I don't know fucking how.
Yeah.
Like I
So
got no idea how
it's
that
like
happened.
numbers happen. I did this. I do a podcast. I don't know why. Like it's so much stuff. You're just like head down grinding. You forget kind of like the why, but also like what I do. And I just started doing this, and I'm really bad at it, but it's been helping a little bit. This is like inside baseball type tip. I have an app, like a journal app, in every night because the thing, like with what we're doing a lot of cool shit, like really cool shit. But it's always as soon as that cool shit's done, what's the next cool thing I can do? How do I keep going? How do I do the next thing? So every night I will jot down like five things I did today. Like literally like, oh, I had this person, I had Jack on the podcast, done. Did this. I had a good conversation about this. Cause then I can like go back and be like, oh, on November whatever 16th, this is what I did. Cause then cause like you said, it's a blur when you're just always moving forward. It's really hard to
Yeah.
like stop. And like you said, you go back and watch your old videos. I do that every now and then. Like I watch TikToks from like July, and I'll be watching them like I don't know what I'm going to say here. Like I don't know what the clip is, even though I'm halfway through. Like I said this. I sat down on this futon and said this at one point 4 months ago, and I don't remember what my take was. Like I don't like that's absurd. That's a crazy thing.
Yeah.
It's because you spend so much time in front of a camera talking, editing it, and once it's out, you move on. You're like next. So that's been good for me. Again, I'm not terribly great at it, but I've gotten better at it like every now and then. I try to do it every night. I definitely don't, but just like a little journal app just to journal. Cause like I don't run my biggest fear is like keep going through doing all this cool stuff and then like forgetting all the cool things I did. And like what we're doing is cool. Like going to the Tennessee Alabama game, that's a really cool thing. You don't want to like forget how you felt in that moment. So that's been a cool thing I've started to do. But I need to get better at it. But it's such a real thing. Like when you're just grinding, because it's like go, 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 go. You're always moving forward. You're never looking back and being like, hey, you know what I did back there was kind of cool. I don't want to keep moving forward, but it's hard to kind of reflect. I think that's the biggest thing. It's just like breathe, take a breath, and then catch your breath so you can run faster. That's the biggest thing I have going for me. I want to get out of the more just like philosophical of what we're doing. Big thing that you have, I see you all the time talking about Jason Tatum, and there's a part of me I see in the background over there. So in 2018, me and a buddy of mine, we decided Jason Tatum's our dude. We love Jason Tatum. We made a song called Boat. BOAT, he the boat. Jason Tatum, he's the best of all time. We made a full rap song, put it out on YouTube. This was like one of my first YouTube videos ever, and this kind of got me going into like this whole world. So I kind of have Jason Tatum to thank for like me being here. Were you a Celtics fan who became a Jason Tatum fan, or a Jason Tatum fan who became a Celtics fan? What happened first?
So I'll tell you all my roots of
please do. I want to hear the origin.
Being a fan. So I'm from Connecticut. My mother and all of her family is Massachusetts.
Okay.
So I consider myself pretty much a Boston boy. I'm from Connecticut, but at the same time, sometimes I tell people I'm from Massachusetts or I'm from Boston because it's just frankly cooler, right? So I've always been a Celtics fan, Patriots fan, Red Sox fan, Bruins fan. And that's kind of, I learned to grow. I grew up learning to cheer for one person and one person only, and that was Tom Brady. And then the rest kind of follows. And just being a overall Boston sports fan was kind of how my family taught me to be. My dad's a Yanks fan, but he's also Celtics and he's Patriots. So it's like we got a little bit of New York, but mostly all Boston.
Huh.
But I am a part of the generation that absolutely hopped on the Steph Curry bandwagon. And I will tell you right now, I went to 2, maybe 3 years in a row of Celtics Warriors in Boston with a with a Golden State Warriors Steph Curry jersey and a Steph Curry flat brim hat. Like I was obsessed. I credit everything in life that I've ever done to 2 people, maybe 3. Steph Curry, Troy Bolton, Tom Brady. Those 3 people, we can throw away the family, fine. Love them all. They have influenced me big time, helped me big time. But when we're talking about celebrities, like iconic characters that I would resemble my life as, like why is Jack Cody? It's because of Stephen Curry, Troy Bolton, and Tom Brady. Those 3.
What's in that order? What's the order? Yeah, there we go. There, you have to make a decision now.
Listen, I played trombone in high school, and our jazz band was like top 15 in the nation. So it was like cool to be a jazz kid, right? But
I don't think it's ever been cool to be a jazz kid.
I understand that statement.
That's no offense. No offense. I just think I played tennis. I played tennis in high school. That's never been cool. Never. Yeah, so like exactly. I get that. Yeah.
But junior year of high school, I was told, or heading into junior year, I was told you got to pick between being in the jazz band and playing trombone and playing varsity basketball. And so
that's awesome. That's
so Troy I'm like, Bolton. So I'm Troy Bolton. And then the best part is I graduate, right? I graduate from high school. And the day after I graduate, I'm like, damn, I literally was Troy Bolton in high school, like everything about him, but I never found my Gabriella. And it haunts me to this day because I was everything Troy Bolton was, but I did not find that Gabriella. But back to the question.
Rank. Yeah. Let's hear a rank. It sounds like Troy might be number 1.
Yeah, we're gonna go Troy 1. We're gonna go Steph 2, and we're gonna go Brady 3. And it's all love to Brady.
Yeah.
And I think this is probably the first ever ranking where I've had Brady
Yeah.
not top 1, not top 2. He's 3 on this list. So back to the question about I can't say his name, but I'm gonna go
Yeah,
by the
I
Green
forgot
Mamba.
about that. Yeah. I can
No,
with this.
you can say it.
You can say it and I'll just bleep it out.
Fine, fine.
I
You know what
promise
I'm gonna
you.
do?
I promise I'll bleep. Or you can do whatever you want.
I'm not playing with that. I'm
All
not
right.
listen. I stick to my word.
All right.
I promise. I promised every follower I have, I will not say his name. So I'm gonna say Green Mamba, and whenever I say Green Mamba, that means
or you can say
and
boat. We call him the boat. Me and my friends, because he's the best of all time. He's the boat.
I'm gonna call him for the sake of this episode, I'm calling him the boat.
All right, bet.
I was a Boston Celtics fan that, frankly, I went to Duke UNC in Barclays Center the year the boat was a freshman at Duke. I didn't even know who he was. I had no clue. I like like I sort of knew, but I didn't really know. And then the Celtics drafted him, and I'm like, must be a good pick. I mean, and then I go to Celtics Cavaliers game 7. LeBron
when he dunked, put his nuts in his face. Stop. That was the moment.
I was in the nosebleeds with my dad and my little brother, and it is the greatest game I have ever been to, and they lost, right? And I was so disappointed after that loss, but it was like, there's some hope here because this kid's good. And then 2 years go by. He has his sophomore season and his third and fourth season, because the bubble was in one of those years, and they lose to the Nets.
Third year, right? Second.
Bubble was his third year.
Yeah.
Kyrie's shenanigans stuff, and they had like a super team his second year, and they lost to the Bucks.
Yeah.
But I was not a boat guy. I wasn't a boat guy to the extreme, meaning in his second and third year, I was like, the boat isn't really all that. And it was because of how he played the game of basketball and how he, just played. Like, I was like, dude, this guy, he's not fit to be the franchise guy of the Boston Celtics. And I didn't think Jaylen Brown was either. And I thought the whole thing was a mess. And I thought the NBA was in shambles because it was all Durant in the Warriors, and it was all Steph Curry. And I was the biggest Steph guy. So I wasn't even focused on the Celtics, but I was like, they're not that good. They kind of suck. And then the year that they played the Nets and lost in 4 games, and then the following year is the finals run.
Yeah.
So that year, when they turned it around at the All-Star break, and they went on this crazy run and just started going crazy. That's when I kind of was like, all right, he learned how to play basketball over the summer prior to that season, because he played with Team USA. And I'm like, all right, he's a different player. The boat in year 5 compared to year 2, 3, and 4, completely different. He's gotten better every single year. I thought his freshman year was phenomenal, but his year 2, 3, and 4 were absolutely terrible. And then year 5 obviously goes to the finals, and just the legend was born, man. So
yeah,
I am definitely Celtics. And then because of the Celtics, I became this big boat guy.
Yeah.
This is going to sound so weird.
I love it. No, I love this. Makes me so happy. This makes my heart so happy, considering we made this boat song 5 years ago, and we were so proud of it. And we promised if he won the finals, and he won finals MVP, we'd make a sequel to it. So I'll put this offer out to you. If he wins a finals MVP, you can feature on the song. If you want.
I need it. I need that feature. I need that feature more than and even if it's like not me rapping, but more so like a big booty mix kind of thing, where you guys are going crazy, and then the beat drop comes, and like as the beat drop comes, I'm like, the legend or some bullshit like that, right?
Yeah, we'll find a way. Oh, we're
Yeah,
not musicians at all. It's the worst thing you'll ever see in your
no.
life. So don't expect anything crazy. But
Yeah,
yeah, we'll make that happen. When he wins finals MVP, we'll come back to this and we'll make the boat sequel. It's gonna be great.
love that.
I
Love that.
would like to apologize though to you because since you're a Celtics fan, obviously tough finals this year. Do you know Justin Lowe, Celtics Rising on
Yep.
Instagram? So he works for us. He does the Low Zone with us on our YouTube channel. He's awesome.
Okay.
Love that kid. But I first got introduced to him during the finals this year. And we were talking back and forth. He came on my live show. We have a daily live show called The Bum. And he came on after game 3, I believe. Were you guys up 2-1? Celtics were up 2-1?
Yeah.
So Celtics were up 2-1. He came on the show after game 3, talked about the Celtics, talked about the finals, was all pumped up, just super excited. After his appearance on The Bum, Celtics didn't win another game. And now I've called him a jinx. I said it's 100% his fault. I would also like to take some responsibility for that. So I want to apologize to you for that. Justin, it's still your fault, but I'm taking credibility here, accountability. So I'd like to apologize for that. That's on me.
Listen, I fully, wholeheartedly accept that apology
Thank you.
because frankly, I didn't think they were the team to win the finals last year. I didn't think they had the team. I thought Golden State was just flat out better. And we got to understand that Kobe Bryant wasn't Kobe Bryant in his first 5 years. LeBron wasn't LeBron in his first 5 years. We got 20 more years of this bullshit with the boat. So I'm looking
I'm in.
forward to it, and there's gonna be a whole lot of more opportunities in the finals, and I think definitely in the next 5 years you're gonna see a whole lot of green come June.
I'm fully in. I want to go even deeper into this. My Tatum takes where like I'll just defend him.
Let's
I
do
want to
it.
start a burner account and I'll just go into like your mentions because I'm sure there's a bunch of comments about like, oh, I can't believe you think Jason Tatum's this and this. I'm gonna create a boat burner account and just chirp people 24/7. I'm gonna
Yeah.
devote like hours in the week just chirp people all day. I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah. Just make the profile picture the boat and
Yep.
make the username the
The
boat
boat.
or whatever
Yeah. Yeah.
B.O.O.A.T.
Yep.
I'm all for that. Listen, I can't believe people are just so hung up on the fact that everyone in the entire world thinks Giannis is better than the boat, and I just can't wait till the day that I can finally just be like throw up the birds and be like,
Yep.
yo, who has more championships? Who has a better career? It's the boat. And honestly, that day might not come for a little bit of time,
Mm-hmm.
but we got to be patient because we see the value of the long-term
Yeah.
success of the boat. So
We got to ride the
yeah, I
waves.
love
Ride the waves of the boat. It's choppy right now. It's choppy. It'll be smooth sailing soon. It'll be smooth sailing for the boat. Can't wait.
I love this nickname. This is electric. I'm gonna
It's
start
so much
using
fun.
this more.
I'll send you the song after this. It's so fucking bad, dude.
Yeah,
It's so bad.
I might have to like react to it on
Yeah.
my
Oh,
TikTok
it'll
or
be
something.
great. All right.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to do here, I want to run through. So you have obviously people like to think your Jason Tatum takes are bold or whatever. You have some bold takes, people chirp at you, whatever. So I
Yeah.
collected some of my boldest takes I've had on this show. I think mostly through the summer. These are all this from this past summer. I just want to get your thoughts on this.
Okay.
So my first one, most recent one that I've been getting a lot of heat for. Do you think it's okay to text your ex happy birthday?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
frankly, I'm texting my ex either way. But
Not where I thought you were going with that.
listen, you know what? It's not even a pet peeve. It's more just like a shake of the head when you look at texts on your birthday and you get a happy birthday text and the last text prior
It's the
to that happy birthday is the happy birthday text from
Yep.
the year prior.
Yep.
That is I don't know how to feel about it because it's fine. Like if you don't have that kind of relationship with a person, and this is kind of going out of the ex question,
Yeah.
but if you don't have like a friendship or relationship with so and so, maybe that's all you communicate and it's a shout out. It's like, hey, this is Jack's day and we're going to wish him a happy birthday. And shout out to
Yeah.
that person. I don't know how to feel about that one. The X question, absolutely. Give
All right.
them a text, get a text. We're all for love in life, no hard feelings.
Exactly.
And to be completely honest, you should be mad about a girl for like 3 months. And then after those 3 months, you're like, all right, dude. I mean, like I had a lot of love for that person, and like that never goes away. You're always
Yeah.
gonna have a little bit of it. So the shout out happy birthday is always welcome at Imagine
Perfect. So
Sports.
we agree on that one. Thank you for having my back there. All right, here's a sports one. I think this would be a really good idea. Just give me like a yes or no if you're in on this. I think for the NFL, there should be, so obviously there's been like XFL, Canadian Football League, all these other leagues trying to start. Whatever league's happening at the time, there should be a relegation system where the bottom two teams in the league, the teams with the first two records, play a game on Pro Bowl Sunday. The winner of that game gets the number one overall pick in the draft. The loser of that game gets relegated to the XFL or CFL, and the winner of the XFL bumps up. So then you eliminate tanking. Tanking's completely out of board. Everyone wants to win because if you're in that game, you have a 50-50 chance of being relegated. But then that game's electric because instead of Pro Bowl Sunday, you have two teams who are dying tooth and nail to win this game so they can get the number one overall pick and stay in the NFL, which means more contract money, more money, all that stuff. Thoughts?
I love the idea to a certain degree. I think
Yeah.
there's an idea here. I kind of like where you're going with it,
Okay.
but I'm gonna say this right now. Golden State 2 years ago was the worst team in the league.
But they tanked.
Win the champion.
So we're eliminating tanking. And I get that.
You can't completely eliminate tanking. There's always going to be tanking in sports.
Well, now there's tanking with a consequence. Now, if you tank, you could tank and then win that game and get the number one overall pick.
What if the game happens, right? You get the Pro Bowl. Instead of the Pro Bowl, it's the two worst teams fighting for the number one overall pick. Or you could even do it like if we did it in the NBA or the MLB, you could make like the 8 worst teams. Mm-hmm. You do like a
tournament
in a tournament, right? A little March Madness, and then the loser. Say it's just 2. Say it's the worst 2 teams in the NFL play for the number one overall pick. The loser of that is not demoted to whatever league, but instead they don't get a draft pick.
Oh, I like that round. One. Or like they don't get a first round, or they get like the 32nd. Like you bump everyone else up. That exactly. I don't hate that one because logistically the relegation would be really hard to figure out, like money wise.
It's hard to just be like, it's hard to just like if the New York Giants were the worst team in the NFL, eliminating them. Like who's the worst team in the NFL right now? I think it's probably the Panthers or something. I wouldn't mind it.
Steelers, Texans, Colts, maybe.
I mean, Texans I'd be okay with. But there are situations where people will be like, there's no way the New York Giants are getting demoted to XFL, right? But I love that idea because I've always been against that whole the tanking with and then demoting them. Mm-hmm. I don't like that idea, but what I do like is the fact that you could find a little bit of popcorn involved in it and get a couple of games out of it. And that's what I'm all for. Like one of the biggest emphasis I have in sports, college football. The fact that they're going to a 12-team playoff is the best thing for the sport. Mm-hmm. I outlined it on my podcast this past week. I basically took the top 12 teams in college football. I made a 12-team bracket, and I looked at the bracket, and I'm like, dude, we're getting Bama, Clemson, Bama, Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, Michigan, Ohio State, LSU, Alabama, all within 4 weeks because it would be like a four-week playoff of all these huge games. It would bring so much to the sport. But so I'm all for like big game stuff like that.
Figuring it out.
Sports needs more of that shit. So.
100%. All right, sweet. Another one non-sports related. I think being called cute is an insult. It depends on how it's said, but if someone says you're cute in the sense of like, oh, you're not hot, I think that's an insult. Thoughts?
I think if someone calls me cute, I find it insulting. If I
Okay,
call,
good.
but at the same time, I definitely call people cute, and
Yeah.
it's like fuck, because you understand that you're low key insulting them, but at the same time, if I were to like snap a girl, and maybe our generations are a little bit different, but
Mm-hmm.
if I were to snap a girl and be like, "You're beautiful," like right off the bat, I think
Yeah.
that girl gets a little bit of an ick,
Oh,
and maybe
100%.
that's just me.
Maybe
But
I
at the
thought
same,
about this take. I think guys being called cute is an insult. If I call a girl cute, I think that's a high compliment. Because I would rather I rank cute higher than hot. Hot, I don't want to date. Because it's like I like,
yeah,
oh, she's hot, like whatever. Like celebrity, like hot. Cute, I'm like,
yeah.
I want to date this girl. I want to marry this girl.
How do you feel about a girl calling you good looking?
Um, oh, I'm very neutral on that one. That didn't really that didn't
So
ruffle any
what
feathers with
in
me.
your ideal world, you barely know this chick and she hits you and calls you something. What's that
Ooh,
dream
ooh.
statement?
It
What's the
depends.
dream?
Is she saying this to me or to her friends and it gets back to me?
Directly to you.
Directly to me? Ooh, attractive? Maybe? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Uh,
put myself in that mindset. I'm trying to create the hypothetical as this ever
It's
happens.
tough to put in a mindset. It's tough to put in that
Yeah.
mindset right now.
Yeah.
We
Yeah, I think
go from
attractive.
talking about go from
Yeah.
talking about the boat to trying to get all
Yeah.
horned up. Like it's just,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll take
I don't
attractive, maybe.
know. Yeah, I like
Tough.
attractive. I like
We can move on from this. I've had this debate like thoroughly. I've gone through every single word, like sexy, beautiful, hot. Like I've like ranked them, so it's difficult.
that's a
One
fun one.
more I'll get to. Let's see which one. Oh, I'm convinced I would survive a hurricane. I don't know if you have experience with hurricanes, but like if I was just outside, I would just like kind of like dig a hole and cover it up and just like stay there for a little bit until it goes. I know how dumb that sounds, and I haven't
Like
experienced a
yeah,
hurricane before, but like I'm just convinced that it's not that bad. And that sounds like not taking into consideration, I understand hurricanes are terrible and this probably isn't true, but for some reason in my brain, I can't comprehend weather hurting me in any way. It's dumb.
I
I
listen. It's
understand if
tough.
you disagree with this one. I don't
No,
necessarily agree with this one.
I agree to the point of like I don't understand how you if there's like a tornado, like does it just like swoop you
Yeah,
up and like
right. I
throw
would
you in
if a
outer
tornado
space?
came, I would just like hold on to something. Like I'm
But
convinced I could just
at the
like
same
hold
time,
on.
those winds kill people. So we got to be like,
Yeah, I know, and I can't even like, but I can't wrap my head around that.
I can't either. I'm with you on that
Yeah,
statement.
and I
I
don't want to sound,
understand
yeah, I
where
don't
you're
want to
coming
sound
from.
insensitive to like people who have been destroyed, like lives ruined because of natural disasters. I understand that I'm wrong here. I just can't grasp the idea that I'm wrong here. It's
I
sound,
think
yeah,
if you're there's a difference between being like in within surroundings, right? You have all these objects around you, cars, houses, trees, you name it. That's tough to survive in a tornado, hurricane. If you are plopped into the middle of nowhere with nothing but like grass or like dirt around you, and you're just standing there and a tornado comes by, like I give you the ability to survive that 1000%.
I would almost think it's the opposite, but I kind of see where you're coming from. So I feel like if there's stuff
No,
around me, I would just hold on to it.
No,
Oh
because
wait, I get it because people don't die from the winds; they die from hitting things from the winds.
yes,
Gotcha,
yes.
gotcha.
You hear where I'm coming from?
Okay.
I'm second guessing myself right now as I just made that take, but I don't know.
Yeah,
That's a good
that
question.
it's just I always think about what I would do if like it was me versus hurricane, nothing else. Like just hurricane coming at me. There's nothing around me. Like how would I would just like dig a hole. We'll wrap up here. It's going to be a hard transition to this last question that I ask everyone who comes on here. So we're going from surviving hurricanes to have you think a little bit. You can answer this however you want, whatever comes to mind here. But what gets you up in the morning?
Wow. I've never been asked that question. And
People are rarely asked this. Yeah.
that's a phenomenal question. What gets me up in the morning? I don't I think the biggest thing is like I've always put this quote in my head. I'm going to be great. Like I'm just going to be great. And I don't know what it means exactly, and that's something that you live every day to figure out, but I know that I'm going to be great and I always just tell myself that. So, I don't know if that completely answers the question of like why do I get up, but I think to some degree it's
Be great.
just to live. Yeah, just to
Yeah.
live and be great. Yeah.
I like that. I yell that at my TV screen every Sunday to Kirk Cousins. Every time he gets a snap, I'm a big Vikings fan. I'm like, dude, I say this to my, I'm like, just be great, dude. Find a way, be great. Somebody be great. I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. You're
That's
adopting that mindset.
it frankly it is kind of adapted from like watching sports and like commentating on sports, because like every time I watch a Celtics game, I'm with you on that one. Just like the boat, just be great,
Just
just
be
be
great.
great. Like
Just be
all you,
great.
Tom Brady, just be great.
Yep.
And then you kind of you take it outside of sports, because I think one of the biggest emphases I've always had is like sports is life. Sports can connect to so many different things other than just sports. It's not just
Yeah.
sports. Like sports ain't just sports, and you can kind of apply it to everything in life. And that's one of the things. Just be great.
100%. All right. Well, Jack, thanks for coming on today. Go ahead, let people know where they can find you, where they should check out all that good stuff.
Yeah, so you can find me on TikTok, Jack Cote 30. I also got a couple of YouTube channels. Imagine Sports is my podcast. You can go check that out on Spotify. I'm also with the company called SoBet. SoBet's a sports betting exclusive platform. It's a website. You can go find that. The link's in my bio if you want any of my exclusive plays. And then yeah, Instagram Jack Cote1. I'm posting daily and trying to create as much content as I can, bring smiles to faces.
Awesome, man. Love it. Well, hey, thanks again for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Appreciate you having me, man.